All right, I think that did it. Now it is customary every time I have ever done a live, like a live chat, that I have to immediately go on and figure out if my mic levels are fine, and if we're actually live. So allow me to do that because that's always a fun journey. We are going to be discussing Stranger Things Part 2. I guess the whole season, really. Now that it's over. Now that we know what's going on with Stranger Things, it dropped. That was fun. We've got Dan here from Scene Invaders. You've probably heard him doing Severance. If you're one of the 13 people that have watched those videos. If not, you should. I have yet to get into Severance, but Dan has been kind enough to help me out with that. Real quick, though, once again, there will be – once again, I haven't even said anything. This is already bastard. Just smash thumbs down. If you haven't seen Stranger Things season 2, just log off now. It's not going to be good for you. We're going to do spoilers. So I would definitely consider logging off. Like and subscribe, obviously. That's a time-honored tradition, but come back to this later because you're not going to want to know what's going on. If you haven't seen it, that happened. Real quick, just housekeeping stuff that I have to get into. If you are new, there is a Patreon link in the bio, so go click that, and you can sign up, and then there's stuff that you get that I give to you. You can pay me money for it. One of the things is shout-outs on live chats. A shout-out to Luna, who is one of the subscribers. So she helped me out there. I appreciate that. And people like her get shouted out because and then they help me out with that. And then there's also merch and stuff. You can buy that as well. But Dan, as I try to figure out if we are actually live or not, what were your initial thoughts? You finished it because I asked you to be here. How fast did it take you to finish it?
One sitting. As soon as I was ready to start, knocked it out. So it was Friday, like as soon as I was done work. I was, I didn't want anything to get spoiled, but at the same time, I've had some luck lately. Like even if I'm on Twitter, I just somehow avoid it. But I didn't want that to happen at all because I was expecting a death, and we'll get into it. But we got a death, and I didn't want to get spoiled, so I watched it as soon as I could. What about you? Did you get it early?
I didn't get it early. For most of you people that are familiar with the channel, I am lucky enough to kind of have it in with Netflix, so I get a lot of this stuff early, which is how I'm able to get a lot of this stuff up as soon as possible. And for whatever reason, I didn't get this up early. I didn't get it early, and it forced me to wake up extra early and try to bang it out. And then obviously I have work. So it was a struggle. I woke up, started watching it at about 4:30 a.m. Had to go to work. Work was from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. So I finished episode 1 at work. Immediately did episodes 1 recap, which I guess would technically be episode 7. And then got that up around 1 o'clock, I want to say. Woke up around 6 p.m., watched episode 2, came in at 10 p.m. to work to finish it up, and I did not leave work until 2 a.m., which I never beg anyone to hit the bell tab with notifications. I just think it's a waste. But if you are one of the people, you noticed that there was an email sent at 2 o'clock in the morning that I finally uploaded it. So it wasn't my goal, but what did you think of the idea of putting it in chapter 1 or chapter what is it, 8, chapter 9, but the 9 was 2.5 hours?
Not really a point, man. I mean, it's Netflix, so the only difference is we're not getting that awesome intro one more time. And there were a couple parts when I'm watching it, I'm like, they could have stopped the episode right there and had the next one. So I don't get it. Like, outside of saying oh, we have a 2.5 hour finale, they just wanted to say that because it's not like there wasn't any points that they could have took a break. They could have a couple times. So yeah, I thought that was a little weird. What about you?
He wasn't a huge fan of it because it felt like a movie.
Yeah.
So I'm the same way. I felt like they could have broken it up and had a more, I don't want to say enjoyable viewing experience, because I did like it. I mean, episode 9 was crazy. It felt long, and it's weird because I'll sit there and watch a 2 hour and 40-minute movie, but with Stranger Things, the 2 hour and 40-minute episode, or 220 or whatever it ended up being, for whatever reason, it just kind of felt like it was 2 hours and 20 minutes. And it's probably the mental hurdle of, I'm so used to these episodes being, 50 minutes, that now it's like we're cramming in 2.5 episodes into one finale. But I didn't feel like they really wasted any time in it. I didn't feel like anything in the 2 hours and 20 minutes was like, all right, they really could have taken that out. I just felt like there were parts where, as you said, they could have ended it and then started a new episode and maybe made it a little bit easier, because I think a lot of people like myself, like you, Jonathan Cahoon, who's usually on these live chats, he pointed out, like, he took a nap after work, woke up at midnight, watched it right away. I think the idea of not wanting to have it spoiled is so real these days that it's constantly in everyone's head of like, I can't go on Twitter. I can't go on Facebook. Oh my God, I just saw a meme of Jason scroll. Like, so it's right away. I mean, you have these sites like IGN who immediately put out like spoiler content, 2 hours after the episode's dropped. So it's frustrating that we live in kind of that day and age of like instant. I'm a little hypocritical because I obviously will put my recaps up, but what I do differently is, like, let's say it drops Friday, okay, and it drops midnight on Friday. Like, I won't drop everything at midnight. Like, I actually time the episodes out and schedule them so that I'm not ruining anything for anyone if you happen to watch it straight through. So, like, I'll actually sit down and be like, all right, this episode ended at 50 minutes. Let's schedule that for 1 a.m., like episode 1. Episode 2 ended 50 minutes, 2 a.m., like 3 a.m. So that's the way I always schedule it, because I'm so hyper conscious of, like, I don't want to drop it and, like, it'd be physically impossible for someone to actually watch that whole thing. So I think a lot of people jumped on, but it was kind of a burden in a lot of ways to get that like watching experience without it getting ruined. So I kind of hope they don't do this anymore. I understand why they did it, but I kind of hope they don't.
Yeah.
But all right, the actual thoughts though on the finale. Now, we obviously got the first 7 episodes, and I appreciate your Rowdy here. He says, "Do you ever do shows like Breaking Bad or Walking Dead?" Dan, you're a huge Walking Dead fan. Will I ever do Walking Dead?
That's a big, like, from the beginning. That'd be a huge project, man. Holy shit.
Rowdy, I appreciate you checking out the channel and being a fan. I'm never going to do Walking Dead because, as Dan will attest, that is a show that I just absolutely despise.
I'm still going. I'm still going.
Hey, I'll pay you to do it. You can do it.
There's only 8 left, and that's it for the main show.
It should have ended like 9 seasons ago. As I tell people with The Walking Dead, just watch the first season and act like they all died, because that was the best. All right, so what did you think of the finale?
This is my favorite season yet. I go 4-1, 3-2. That's my order now, and I think it's the most well made. I think it has the best production value. I think, like, top to bottom, just a very, very well made show, and we're very lucky to be fans of this show because, man, it was a hell of a ride. Now, I do have like some minor complaints, but overall, I thought the villain was cool. I thought the storyline was cool. I was bummed about one thing in particular. I don't know how far ahead you want to get right now.
It's fine. Let's jump into everything.
So,
like, these live chats are not well thought out. Most of the time, it's me waking up that day and saying, "Let's do a live chat." And lately, it's been me texting you because I don't want to talk to myself. Okay. So these are not well thought out. You can just spitball. Go ahead.
Well, Joseph Quinn, the lovely actor who played Eddie Munson, he dies. So of course he died. Of course he did. I should have saw that coming. I should have never said Steve. Dude was never in danger the entire finale. If you want to count that being tied up in the vines bullshit, he was never in danger. And I was like, wow, I really played myself thinking that Eddie might make it through this finale because they created a great character. Some people didn't like him. That's fine. But overall, I think he had a positive effect on the Stranger Things fan base. And they create this great character who still could have some story left to tell, but they needed to kill somebody, so they killed him. So I was a little bummed about that. A little bummed. Felt like they lifted him up just so that we would care about somebody. Then they killed him off. It felt a little lame to me. But I mean, did you grow to like him at all after he did that? That was probably one of the coolest scenes in Stranger Things history when he's playing the guitar.
Yeah, that was awesome. I joked with somebody that after what happened with Kate Bush with Running Up That Hill, absolute banger of a song. But after that smash, where it just revitalizes that song, I thought to myself, and by the way, if someone could comment if my levels are okay. Normally I use a mic. I actually bought a webcam for finally, so I don't have a shitty computer webcam, but I can't plug in the mic and the webcam at the same time. So if my levels are okay, just let me know. Just give me a thumbs up or whatever.
You need this splitter thing I got. There you go.
Yeah, dude. And the worst part is I turn on the lights in here, and now I got to get a light because it looks like I'm in it. It looks like I'm in Vecna's house. Thank you, Rowdy, for letting me know the audio is fine. Did I grow to like him? Yeah. Well, I totally got distracted there. Once again, I hit thumbs down for that. Gives you an idea of where what are you doing? What are you doing?
Me?
What is this? What is this? Just moving stuff around?
You talking to me?
Yeah. You know what? I'm watching the.
Yeah, I was showing you. I was
watching
showing you the
the
connector. I was showing you the connector. Yeah.
My bad. Everyone hit thumbs down for this. So I thought Metallica must be doing backflips when Master of Puppets gets played because of what happened with Kate Bush. Same thing with Journey. Journey at the end of episode 7. I'll just call it episode 1, but you guys know what I'm talking about. That whole scene was incredible. You got the Journey's blasting. It's my favorite Journey song. The Journey's blasting. You got the kids walking up to the house. You don't know what's going to happen. That is exactly what you want from an episode because it makes you I can't wait. Yes, I can't hit next episode fast enough. That scene with Eddie on the trailer playing Master of Puppets was insane. That was incredible. Did I grow to like him? No. As you said, it was the most Stranger Things thing in the world. Is because this is what they do. They introduce you to a new character, and then they kill them off. Now, Eddie was a little more mainstream than the most recent ones, but in season 3, you had it wasn't Dimitri. What was the guy's name? The Russian dude.
Alexei,
yeah. You had Alexei. But they always seem to introduce you to a new character, and they die off in 1 to 2 seasons.
Billy. Yep.
Yeah. And I actually, it's funny that that Rowdy mentioned Walking Dead because I feel like Stranger Things is getting the same problem that The Walking Dead has. Was Walking Dead obviously is a little bit different because they went week by week, but with Walking Dead, they would hype up, we're going to kill a character this week. And you'd be like, oh my God, I wonder who's gonna die. And it would have been a character that you just got introduced to 14 minutes ago.
Yep.
And you're like, I don't care about Susie Q getting killed. There's no backstory with her. They mentioned her in passing, and that is what the one issue I had with Stranger Things. None of the kids have yet to die. None of the main kids. You want to give me Max, fine, but she's not an OG. And while I'm attached to Max, watching Lucas's horrible acting just made me even more mad because he's the guy that should die, and yet instead I have to see him act like he's reading a book, which was the most believable thing in the world because him acting like, when you sit there and you get really emphatic when you're trying to read somebody a book, that's literally how he acts. So it's very fitting, but none of the main kids dying. Can we just look, nothing against Will Byers. Shoot him off to the moon. He's pointless at this point. That kid adds nothing for me. Mike sucks. Like, most of these kids actually suck. Mike is the worst. Like, your best friend is sitting next to you in a closed van, and you can't tell that he's crying. You know, like that's annoying. So he sucks. It's weird. Like, I used to hate Dustin, and it's like now Dustin's like the least annoying one of the group. But
yeah,
what's gonna happen is all these kids are gonna survive except like 11 at the end. But I realize, by the way, that I am in the vocal minority with a lot of that. I know like everyone loves all the kids and all that. A lot of them annoy the ever loving piss out of me. But that was the one problem I had was this would have been the season to kill off at least one main character, and they chose to sort of kind of not really kill off Max.
Yeah, and then she got brought back because 11 was like, no, you're not dying. But I don't know, man. It was just – but Dustin, speaking of Dustin, he did have a strong season. I thought that myself. I was like, wow, he really was pretty good this season because, right after they had the concert and they're downstairs and they lock themselves in the room and he goes, most metal ever, and they start jumping up and down together. Yeah. That was so believable. I felt like I was there. Like, it was just like two buds just proud of themselves. And it was awesome. And that's why, it made me like Eddie so much. And that was such a bummer, but like, I knew it was going to happen. I knew it. And dude, yeah. Steve, he wasn't even close to being in danger. None of them were really outside of Max.
Look, the reality is when you had a situation of Netflix putting up like literal billboards that said protect Steve at all costs, everybody and their mother should have known that Steve wasn't dying.
Yeah.
It's the biggest red herring. Like, and then he's really become the one, Rowdy asked, who's your favorite actor on the show? It's probably David Harbour, who plays Hopper, but a second is Joe Keery, who plays Steve, and his character arc has been the best. He really did like a Jamie Lannister 180 where the first season you couldn't stand him. And then now it's like, oh my God, we can't lose Steve. So Netflix does that, and then they kill off everybody's new favorite character. I know I'm in the minority. I didn't really like Eddie, but everyone else, like, you loved him. I just found his character extremely lazy and tropey. And it sounds like I don't like the show. I love the show. I think the show's really well done. I mean, the final, not the final scene, but the scene where they're all fighting, like you've got Nancy and that group fighting Vecna, and you've got Hopper fighting the Demogorgon. Like, that entire 5-10 minute sequence was the best 5 to 10 minute sequence of the entire show. That was absolutely incredible. Well done. However much they paid for it, they earned their money with that, and it was incredible. But I thought they spent a little too much time in Russia. The fact that David Hopper finally gets back to Hawkins, Indiana, like 5 minutes before it ends. A little bit of a buzzkill.
Yeah, I got to a point where every time they would try to leave Russia and then, something happened, I'd be like, oh, really? We're still going to be here? Like, I just wanted him to get home already. But it was kind of a payoff when he had that sword against the Demogorgon. That was awesome. Sick. I mean, that goes along with what you're saying. That's in that 5 minute window when they go from, group to group to group. And they did a really good job in switching from each group to the different group. And they kept the stakes high. Eddie was getting surrounded by bats as Hopper's fighting the Demogorgon, as Elle's doing her thing. Like, it was really well done, man. It was
it
was great.
My only problem with it, real quick, let me put this out. Chatting now. Join friends. Gotta let the people know we're live, Daniel. My only problem, where the hell did the sword come from?
Yeah, I don't know. I watched the episode again today, and I still didn't pick up
like
where.
out of nowhere, there's just a sword. Like, what makes this show so good is there are so many holes like that where you're just like, really? Like, we're in the Soviet Union, Russia, and there's just a random medieval sword on the ground. Like, wow, that's just happened. But you don't even care, which is a testament to how good the show is, where you just sit there and, slapdicks like me and you will sit there and criticize it. But in the long run, we that scene is incredible. Like, him just slicing up that Demogorgon.
So cool.
Yeah,
Man, I
so
love
that entire arc, I just kind of felt was like played out towards the end. But, and I said this in my recap for part 2, Joyce Byers is the number 1 ride or die chick in possibly television history. Okay, I might have said this the first time we chatted, or the first time I chatted. I don't know if you joined me for that one. I don't remember the last time you joined me. It might have been that one. But I think I said this last time. Look, this is 1985, 86, right? She's taking out $40,000 from her bank account. Okay, inflation in this economy, that's probably a cool 1.2 mil. So she takes out $40K. She's doing a job where she works on commission. And she goes, you know what? I'm going to leave that for a week. Okay. On top of it, she's a single mother who's got now 3 kids to take care of because she took L in. So she leaves her job and then not getting any income. Got 3 mouths to feed at home. Takes her entire savings. Flies to Russia to get her man back. Ride or die, Joyce. Ride or die. Like that is, she does not get enough credit for the sacrifice that she made. Now, it works out. I think a lot of people would call her an idiot. But, I mean, that is like, you need a girl by your side that is Joyce Byers. So credit to her. And just kudos, really, the Joyce Hopper love. But glad, obviously, they made it out. I didn't think there was any doubt in that. I think going into the season, the only characters that you thought were going to die were probably Steve and then Eddie, as we talked about. You said something, and Emmanuel Scott says, too much money for episode. I don't. She does. Like Emmanuel Scott brings a good point. She needs a good dicking. Joyce Byers, after that, needs. And by the way, he's been in prison for a couple months. I think he needs some. Okay, I think it's a mutual interest thing, and it's got to suck that they were like camped out and they're taking their clothes off and they can't do anything about it. Like, can we just skip the stupid first date? Your first date was in a prison in Russia. Okay, that my man needs to go into a bedroom and dick her up and down, straight up.
Real good.
Okay. Anyway,
so
you said that you sort of liked Vecna.
Yeah, no, I thought Vecna was good overall, but before I forget, just on what you were saying about Russia. So in season 5, the Duffer Brothers have confirmed it's all going to take place in Hawkins. Everything, every fucking scene, every scene. Sorry,
Jesus, dude, we got kids on this.
Sorry,
what are you doing?
And your favorite person, Will Byers, will be, quote, a big part and focus. So there's that to think about. He's got to be, though. He's got to be. He was a big part and focus of season 1, and I feel like they're gonna wrap it all up together and tie it into a nice little bow. I think that's the direction we're headed, and he's gonna be a huge focus. He might die.
Well, and they focused on that, like towards the very end when he's like, "I'm back," and I just feel something. Like I feel like he's attached to me. Obviously, the most trauma kid in that whole show is, other than 11, is Will, and a lot of 11's trauma she doesn't even remember. So, for me, Will is just this season was annoying for me for Will. Because he's obviously going through his sexual identity.
Yeah.
It's really easy for us to sit there and be like, dude, just like come out. But it's definitely not that easy, especially in 1986. But they're doing his character no favors. And that's my problem with Will Byers is like either kill him off or like give him a break. Because he goes through the monotony of being in the Upside Down and all that crap and the mind flare and fine. So then he moves to California, and now it's like, well, I lost all my friends and the one that I have a crush on, and I'm gay, and I have the worst haircut in the world and some horrible fashion. Oh, great. My friend's coming to visit me, but he's not. He's coming to visit his girlfriend. It's like the kid just can't catch a break. Like I need this kid. I need something going well for this kid. Now, Jusu Choi says, wait, why do you think Will is gay? Many reasons. Every interaction he had with Mike was way too clingy, in my opinion, for like a normal best friend relationship. I think we've all had friends that they get a girlfriend, they get a boyfriend, and they kind of ditch you for that person. But like Will couldn't totally understand it. And then the clincher to me that I felt like I thought they were hinting at him being gay for a while. The clincher was when he was clearly talking about how hard it is to be different, and then he turns and he's crying, sitting right next to Mike while looking outside the window. You know, you get the impression he's talking about himself. He's different because he's gay. Hey, more power to him. I don't really care that he's gay. I mean, you know, it's got to be tough in that situation. I still can't figure out how Mike had no idea he was crying, but that's the reason why I think he's gay. Dan, I don't think me and you have talked about it. Do you think he's gay?
No, I do, and it's pretty much like really. There's a lot of people on the internet that think this, and apparently, it's going to get touched on in the final season. From what I'm seeing so far, yeah,
it has to. Even if they didn't even mean for this to happen, they at this point had to touch on it.
Well, they're going to have to do a big time jump because the actors are getting older. And I don't know how many years. Maybe they'll jump into college. I don't know. So maybe 4 years or something like that. But I think he will come out, and that would bring it to 1990 if they did that.
No, they're not going to do a time jump at all because –
You don't think they'll do any time jump?
No, they're going to pick right up where the season left off. They have to. I mean, Hawkins is becoming the upside down, so they have to pick up right where it left off. They can't – I mean, it can't just be like, oh, by the way, there's a little fire out in the distance, and then 4 years later they pick it up.
Yeah.
It says Jonathan Who makes a point. Even though Robin is out, she's only out to Steve in the audience. So I give Will a pass. Totally. Like I'm not criticizing Will for not coming out. Like as you know, I said this in the first one. I'll say it again, but I think it's hard for kids to come out now in 2022. Imagine having to come out in 1985 or 6. Not faulting him at all for that. I just want the kid to get a break. Either give him a break or kill him off. And what I think ends up happening is he ends up coming out to Mike in the final season, and within 20 minutes he's dead.
Oof.
And it's like I look at Will Byers to some extent, like I look at the dude from The Hangover, where like he just kept getting lost and stuff. It's just like, can the guy catch a break? Alana says, I don't think Will's sexuality is the issue. I think he is emotionally stunted and clings to things that made him feel safe and loved, and that is why he's attached to Mike in D&D. He seems more asexual. That's a good point. Very well could just be asexual and just love Dungeons and Dragons. I myself have never played. Daniel is a level 38 wizard. Are you an orc?
No, I'm a I used to be a archer elf. I was an elf.
I was 1,000% making that up. Had no idea. But her point about him just kind of clinging to things that make him comfortable do make sense with the trauma that he has suffered. One thing that I was amazed at, and this is like another like tiny little minute detail that I just kind of threw my hands up. Like they're not going to explain it, but I kind of need them to explain it. So this kid hopped in the Surfer Boy Pizza. Like there was a firefight going on at his house between secret agents and whoever, right? And like dudes are getting killed.
I forgot about that.
And they hop into Surfer Boy Pizza's truck, and he goes, "Hold on a second. I need to get my Dungeons and Dragons painting for Mike." Like he just had that at the ready. At the ready. He's like, "Well, Mike, I got to show you this. Like, look at that painting I did." Now, painting was dope. Okay, really cool. And I want to ask you, do you think that Elle actually had it commissioned, or do you think he just made it for Mike? Because I think he just made it for Mike.
That wouldn't surprise me. That's what I would think, that he just made it for him.
But he carried that thing around for the entire season. He brought it to the airport. If he brought it to the airport, he brought it to the bowling alley.
Mm-hmm.
Like Will Byers just carrying around a painting that he did and waiting, oh God, I don't know, 9 hours to finally show the dude. I understand they didn't have a ton of breaks, but it's not like Mike was sleeping in Eleven's room. He was probably sleeping in Mike's room. That part of me, I went like, come on, man. Emmanuel Scott says Max will get superpowers.
Ooh.
Interesting. Hadn't thought about it. What do you think?
She's saying that because 11 saved her.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
so.
kind of just like Umbrella Academy, wouldn't it be? When she was saving that young kid, and I forget his name, and he turns into a very high-powered individual. But yeah, I mean, if that's what they're saying it for, because 11 was in her mind when she saved her. It was hard for me to grasp. I had to say it to myself a few times, but that's where she was when she saved her. So yeah, maybe she will.
Said it earlier, just a reminder, if you guys are new, there's like shirts and stuff you can buy. Go buy that. I got bills to pay. And there's like the super chat thing, or I don't know, what is it? You could like leave a comment or something. And then there's a Patreon link in the comment section. So if you click the comment section, you can see my Patreon link, and then you get shout outs on videos like this. So shout out to Luna, who's one of my Patreon subscribers. Thank you for her contribution. And you get an invite to the Discord, which Dan got invited to, didn't join. He doesn't want to be in there. You don't have to talk to Dan if you don't like him, but you can join and get caught up. Like I keep it pretty updated on like what I'm doing. So you know what's going on. Speaking of Umbrella Academy real quick. So I did Umbrella Academy, and I didn't do a live chat for Umbrella Academy. But right now, Stranger Things is number 1 on Netflix. Umbrella Academy is number 2. Not going to get into a huge Umbrella Academy discussion right now because this is supposed to be Stranger Things Part 2, and a lot of people will hit thumbs down for that. But just need to address something, and of course, no one's going to see this that actually wants it addressed. So I was getting ripped on my Umbrella Academy Season 3 recap because I was calling Victor she at times. And I made every effort to not have that happen. Right? Like Dan, you know how long these recaps take.
Uh-huh.
So there were times where I was in the editing process, and then I would, in the free flow of doing the recap, because I don't write down a script. So in the free flow of doing it, I would inherently say she, because the character has been a woman for 2 seasons. I'm used to the actor being a woman since 2017. So I ended up saying she a few times. It snuck in there. Plenty of he's. A couple times I had to go back and like re-record it. And people were like ripping me. Like, let me just make it clear. I don't care what you identify as. I don't care what your sexuality is. All right. Will Byers could not care less about that. I don't really care what your political views are. As long as you let the ads run, I could not care less. All right. Just let the ads run because I got bills to pay. That's all I care about. So anybody is on this and they saw my Umbrella Academy and they're like, is he trying to make a point? Because I got that in like one comment was like, are you disrespecting the character? Like, no, it's just accidents happen. Right. There was like 40 hours of audio that I had to edit down. All right. Like it happens. Anyway. I had not thought though that Max was going to get powers, but it is interesting. I don't think she ever comes back. Like she's going to be blind for the rest of her life, which
I don't understand how hurt she's going to be. I'm sorry. I don't get it. How hurt is she going to be? Yeah. I don't get that.
We should have seen that coming because shows like this do that all the time where they hint at something like a relationship per se. And hey, like let's hang out. Like let's rekindle the relationship. And then something happens. It doesn't allow them to hang out. And immediately, like, a lot of people will go like, oh, that's an indication so-and-so's going to die. But the indication that she was going to be blind should have been, let's go to the movies. That should have been it. Because it's very difficult to watch movies if you're blind.
Oh.
You can do it. I'm not saying you can't do it. You absolutely 1,000% can do it. I'm just saying. That should have been our hint.
I really thought she died for a second, but I don't understand how hurt she's going to be because, like, 2 of her arms snapped, 1 of her legs snapped, and then her eyes were like cream. She was in bad shape. So, yeah, I'm really curious about that. So maybe she'll have to get powers to kind of like get back to, as full strength as she can be to fight whatever. Like Vecna, I like Vecna. Is Vecna gone? Are we going to go back to the Mind Flayer for season 5? What's next? What is the big bad for the final season? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think they have to play Dungeons and Dragons because it seems like every season, whoever the bad guy is a Dungeons and Dragons bad guy. So until they play a game of D&D, we're not going to know, Dan. We're just not.
That's true.
But yeah, it's season 2. Geez, I'm cooked. Season 5, I feel like they have to immediately start filming it because, as you said, the kids are getting older, but they're still. They're also at a point though where they might have peaked. Like the kids might be like you've got the guy that played Eddie. That dude's like 35 years old. All right, he's probably like 22. But he's like 22, like he's convincible enough. I don't think if you waited 6 months, if you wait a year, the kids are going to really look all that different.
Yeah.
I mean, the one kid that's made, I guess, the most different, in my opinion, like looks the most different is probably Dustin. Elle, for sure, in some scenes. But if I were them, I would immediately get back to it, which I think they're going to. But then again, they might stretch this out, and I do wonder if they go back to the part 1, part 2, where is what they did this time. Which is, I wouldn't be a huge fan of it. I still don't understand their logic of like we're going to release part 1 in May, and then we're going to release part 2 in June.
Yeah.
I understood why they broke it up. Everybody knows Netflix stock is trash right now, so like I was like, all right, you're clinging to people, carrying on. But at that point, I'd almost rather have them just drop an episode a week like The Boys than drop it all at once. If you're going to do this part 1, part 2 crap.
I know. I wouldn't mind that for the final season, but they already said, apparently Netflix already said they're not going to do a weekly drop. They're like, we're not doing it for Stranger Things. It's not happening. So whatever, we're going to get part 1 and part 2 again.
There's been one show, I think. No, there's been a couple, but there's been like the one show I remember that Netflix tried to do this dropping per week was Rhythm and Flow, the American Idol rap show, I liked it. But other than that, they dropped the first 3 episodes and then they dropped an episode per week. I know they've done it with some stuff, but I wasn't a huge fan of part 1 and part 2. I just would have rather had it at least all at once or break it up more. But once again in the heavy minority with it. So yeah, that's just their MO and that's what they're going to do. I would assume they probably will. They probably have an idea of what they want to do. And I don't think they want to wait as long as they did between season 3 and 4. Season 3 and 4 was
too long.
Long. Like the flashbacks that you had with Max when she was trying to think of the good times, she looks way different.
Yeah, I know.
And,
it really does.
Yeah, so Lana, I think I'm saying her name right, said Max was clinically dead. Her body's able to heal, but she is hiding so far in her psyche. She can't get out of her own, I guess, way. I don't think Vecna has Max's consciousness. That connection was broken. I agree. I think Vecna and Max are done.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
I think that relationship is broken. But, I mean, overall, I thought the season was really good. There were just like minor details that I would have changed. I really thought Hopper and Joyce were going to all come back at, towards, not with 5 minutes to go. One of the minor things that I loved about this season, and it was just one of those bring a little bit of levity to such a serious show, was the Surfer Boy pizza scene when they go in and it's like there's just an Argyle at every Surfer Boy pizza, and all you had to do was just give the guy weed and it would have been good. And then obviously than trying Hawaiian pizza. What's your take on Hawaiian pizza, Dan?
You're gonna laugh, man. I've never had it.
Dude.
Not once. I know.
What?
I gotta get out more.
What? Why?
I've never been in a scenario that it's been offered to me or that I've seen it on a menu. I've just never.
Whoa!
I've just never been in that
seen it on the menu.
I don't look hard enough, I guess. I don't know.
Have you ever been to Domino's, Pizza Hut, like Papa?
Yeah, they have that.
Yes.
All right, then that statement's wrong. I retract that statement. But still, I've never had it, and I need to try it. I know I need to try it. But dude, he's funny, man. That guy is just like he's all stoned, and Elle's talking about what she needs to do, and he's just in the background like, oh, mind fight, nice. And then he's like, this will be the first mind fight held in a pizza dough freezer. Like, he's just so in his own world. It's great.
He's the quintessential like 80s stoner, guy.
Yeah.
But he's so perfect in that role that it's like he's so innocent with everything that's going on that it makes it almost adorable that he's tagging along, because it's like he just has no idea about anything. So it makes it great. Jonathan Cahoon says he's not a fan of Hawaiian pizza. I am. So Jonathan's probably going to smash that thumbs down. That's okay. We persevere. We keep on going. Emmanuel says he was a waste of a character. Well, I don't think you're ever going to see Argyle do a damn thing in this show other than be comedic relief. Like, he's good for a chuckle here and there. And honestly, I mean, I think this show kind of needs that, because everybody else is like uber serious because they realize the severity of the issue. You kind of need an outsider that doesn't realize the severity of the issue and like isn't going to understand it. So I don't think he's necessarily a waste of a character, but I don't ever see like a progression with him. And honestly, if they have him like do something, I'm going to kind of like throw my hands up like, come on, man. Like,
he didn't hurt anything this season.
No.
He didn't hurt anything.
No, I mean, he's like parsley.
Right.
Does it really add anything?
Yeah.
No, it's like a garnish.
Yeah.
It's there to make you look good. So, where do you guys rank this season against the others? I think this is the best one. They put the most money into it. I thought it showed. I thought, if you include season 4 as a whole, part 1, part 2, the Hopper speech that he gave in the prison about how they needed, he thought that they needed him, but in reality he needs them. The battle scenes, the reveal at the end of part 1 where you find out Vecna is one, incredible. The fight scenes that went down with Vecna and all that, like, incredible. So I would go, this is 1. Season 1 I will go as the second best. Season 3 and then season 2.
Yeah, that's exactly what I have. Yeah, that's what I have. This season had a couple scenes that are like can't forget Stranger Things moments. So yeah, it was great, man. It was fantastic. I couldn't believe how good it was. Even guys like Enzo, the guy from Game of Thrones, he was good. He did a good job.
Hello, Kenla. Thank you for joining. And I felt like in a weird way there was like character progression with Murray, which I did not expect. So there was a lot of characters that I ended up thinking, like in season 3's recap, I routinely say this, I never check the comment section. Every once in a while, I end up clicking on that little bell icon. When I click on it, there's a bunch of comments. I'll end up seeing one. And some guy was like, love how you said Murray the whole time as the investigative journalist. Because I had no idea that Murray was going to be such a focal point. Like, I really thought the character of Murray was going to be like in and out in 2 episodes. So I just kept going with like the investigative journalist. And now it's like, no, the investigative journalist is Murray. And Murray rocks. So, Alana says, I really hope I'm saying her name right. Do you think we will revisit those 2 days in season 5? I think there's a chance that we will see what happens during those 2 days, then jump into a cliffhanger ending, then have a time jump. So she's talking about, I'm assuming she's talking about the 2 days, like the days of when they're in the field, the ending. They cover that for a little bit, and then there's a time jump. I don't think that happens. I really don't think they're going to do a time jump. I think at this point the kids are grown enough where you can hide them. You got to keep in mind, too, this is Netflix, where they have a hit show called Outer Banks where you have a 37-year-old collecting a pension who's playing John B., a 17-year-old. So where is the Indian girl 6? Yes, Emmanuel Scott says, where is I think it was 6. And he is talking about Elle's sister, which she found in episode or season 2 or 8. I thought that too. When they covered 11 at Hawkins in 78, I was like, oh, where's number 8? And then she just didn't show up. And I don't know if it's a situation where the Duffer brothers are like, well, we just kind of hope no one notices. But I feel like she's got to kind of make a comeback, because if not, then what was the point of that? Just I guess to show that 11's not the only one, but it was just kind of, for me, it was revisit it or at least make a mention of it, because that was weird. Like 11 went to go hang out with her for a little bit and then just kind of came back.
That episode was the Fly of Stranger Things. It was the Fly.
Yeah, that's why season 2 for me is the worst one, because they just had a flat out waste of an episode, and everybody says it is a waste of an episode. Like,
yeah, it is.
It was. I mean, you have an 8-episode season, and it was like, hey, let's have 11 go on a field trip with her quasi sister and wear a lot of like eye black and look like she's heavily into The Cure and Joy Division. I think it's Kenya says, I don't have Netflix. Well, if you don't have Netflix, that's why you have this channel, because I just about recap a lot of stuff on Netflix. So not to worry. Got you covered. Yeah, and if anyone has any questions, just throw them out there. Argyle is the audience replacement whenever a plot device needs explanation instead of a massive exposition. Telling Argyle what is happening serves an error. I have never once thought about that, and I have not thought about that as a, like even TV shows, movies, and that comment is incredible, because I'm going to star that. I don't know if that matters at all. But I didn't even think about Argyle as literally just for people that have checked in. I guess because I assumed that if you're watching season 4, you watched it all. But yeah, I mean, I guess he would kind of be a slight reminder of what's going on.
Yeah.
I guess in that sense, I really should hate Argyle, because he defeats the purpose of my YouTube channel. You know, you're not going to go watch a recap, Dan, if you've got Argyle just asking questions and then just filling them in on what's going on. But incredible point, Alana. I think it tested out how the audience would respond to more powerful kids, and it failed miserably. Boy, did it. I don't real quick to go to Vecna. I don't think he's dead. I mean, he just kind of disappeared. And like, what would be more powerful than Vecna, I guess, would be whatever created the Upside Down. And that's obviously not Vecna, because that was there when he arrived, but I am going to be slightly disappointed if he is the main, like, bad guy, because every year it seems like there's just something different and more powerful that they have to deal with. So I'm going to be slightly disappointed, but they also have to worry, though, about that Army general who's like hunting down 11 because he thinks that 11 is doing this, Colonel Sullivan or whatever. And you know that dickhead's just going to show up at the worst time. Like, the worst time, he's going to roll on in with the Air National Guard and just start messing people up. So, but they got to deal with him too, and they don't know that he's the one who's like after him. So, it's gonna be interesting what happens in season 5. Before we get out of here, any predictions on season 5?
Well,
or anything?
Oh God, I'm not gonna say Steve's dying. I'll tell you that, because he was like rocked and coddled in the finale. Like, he didn't even get close to being in danger.
That's what annoyed me about this season a little bit. Like, if I had to write down the things that did annoy me, because there was stuff. was like Steve. You put up posters that say "Protect Steve at all costs." Well, they did.
Yeah, they did. Oh yeah,
like, dude wasn't in danger at all. Like they really protected Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing Steve was in danger of was getting Nancy's gum at one point. Which that love triangle, like I need a conclusion on it. And by conclusion, I mean like I need it to like end.
Yeah.
I don't need the sexual tension of two teenagers. One's in figuring out where she's going to go to college, and Steve's trying to figure out return times of Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which I was completely on board with why that scene in Fast Times was rewound and sped up and rewound and sped up.
Yeah.
Shout out to Phoebe Cates on that one. I know she's watching. But, Emmanuel Scott points out that the Phillies are up 9-0. Yeah, well, they're playing the damn Nationals, so they should be. But I'm just not interested in their relationship. I'm not interested in Steve, Nancy, or Jonathan or this love triangle at all.
Yeah, me either.
And they just keep hinting at it, and I'm like, whatever. Like, can we move on? You know, Steve's come around. A lot of the audience loves Steve, and I get it, but I'm just done with it.
So someone clipped it, and I rewatched the finale again today, so I saw the scene again when Jonathan and Nancy are talking after they, see each other after the earthquake, whatever. Steve walks by, and Robin's walking by right behind him, and she's like patting his back, saying, "It's all right," as they're like kissing. And I didn't notice that the first time. It's pretty quick. And both of them can't find love. So like if they keep this going, there's going to have to be a new characters, or maybe Robin will find love with that student that we had at the end, the redhead. But Steve's got to find something if it's not going to be Nancy, or he'll die. But I'm not saying he's dying. Maybe when we do a prediction closer to when the season's actually about to come out, maybe I'll say it again, but I'm not going to say it anytime soon.
I do not think for 1 second. I said this in my recap. I don't think that girl that's trying desperately to look like Molly Ringwald is straight at all. I think there's still hope.
Yeah.
I think still hope for Robin.
I think so too.
One of my favorite things about last season was the fact that Robin and Steve didn't end up together, because they set you up for that. And that was one of the hopes that I had with this season, was they were setting you up for Nancy and Steve to, to connect. And I thought, okay, well, they kind of did that last season, and then they flipped it on you. So maybe that won't happen with these two. And it hasn't happened yet, but they're hinting at it with the whole, like, Jonathan coming back, like, are we good? Yeah. But Jonathan still won't man up and be like, I'm not going to your college. So there's still hope. There's still hope for Robin, and I hope she finds love. Steve and all that, man, I don't really care. Robin's become one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, me too. She's great. She is great.
A lot of these main characters on this show, for me personally, like I'm annoyed by, for whatever reason. A lot of them is the kids can't act. Like, I'm sorry, Mike, horrible. Lucas, one of the worst actors I've ever seen. The kids cannot act, and it literally pisses me off. But they're stuck with these kids. I get it. Also, the character Mike sucks. I actually like the character of Lucas, if the kid could act. Like, it actually pisses me off. Like, Dan, you know how big of a sports fan I am. Okay, we actually, for those that don't know, no one's going to know. But me and Dan met on a hockey team, as if like people are on like, oh yeah, I knew that. I knew the love story of Dan and Pat. No, we met playing hockey together, and like, I love sports. The idea that Lucas Sinclair hit your game-winning shot to win you a state title, and within 12 hours you've completely forgotten about it, and now all of a sudden you want to hunt him down and kill him at gunpoint, Jason? Real.
Jason sucked.
Get real.
Jason was the worst.
Get real.
Get real. Seeing him get split in half was pretty satisfying. I gotta say that. That was nice.
Yeah, no, that part was awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, he first of all, he looked completely unhinged buying that gun, which, not trying to make this political, but like, I guess that fits, right? Like,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, kid, you looked unhinged. Here's a gun. Here's a revolver, or whatever it was. But then you've got the situation of like, he just shows up and won't listen to any reason. Now, at the same time, if you do not know any backstory, which obviously we all do, we're watching the show, and you walk up the steps and you see Max Mayfield sitting in crisscross applesauce. I don't feel like getting canceled for that. Crisscross applesauce, eyes rolled in the back of her head, and there's a blue light. You're probably going to think there's like some satanic shit going on too. But then after what you watched with poor Patrick, shout out to all the Patricks out there, poor Patrick gets floated up and his arms break all that. Don't you kind of start to believe like a little bit like, oh yeah, maybe the kid that I played basketball with, maybe he's not, I don't know, trying to get the cousin of Satan.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Like, he was so oblivious. There could have been a scene where Vecna like tapped on his shoulder and been like, "Yo, I'm the villain," and he still would have been like, "Lucas, I'm on to you. I'm on to you, Lucas." Like, he was just so oblivious to anything that was going on. He was just so focused that he had to bring revenge to his fallen girlfriend. Like, yeah, he sucked. So seeing him get split in half was dope.
Yeah, he was one of the ones that we said goodbye to. I don't think anyone was sad about that. I saw a couple of memes that were like, I hate this dude more than I hate Vecna. And I was pretty much there too. Vecna, in a weird way, I like understand a little bit. He's warped, but I understand where he's coming from in a way.
Yeah.
Jason just sucked because he was an idiot.
Yeah, he just sucked.
Like, I can't, and this is I think one of the reasons why I didn't like Eddie. For the life of me, I cannot figure out how Jason didn't know that Lucas was in Hellfire. But that's a little more believable to me. That's a little more believable because Hellfire was like a nerd, D&D group.
Right.
But how Eddie had no idea Lucas was on the basketball team.
Yeah, come on. Come on.
And like your first introduction to Eddie is, I'm the 19-year-old rebel outcast who hates the jocks, and I'm refusing to move my D&D campaign because one of the kids can't do it. Like, dude, just move the damn campaign. And then you got to get Eric involved.
Come on.
But I will say the scene of Dustin telling Eddie's uncle that Eddie was a hero, like that was one of my favorite scenes of the season.
Yeah.
But I still don't think Dustin can act. I said it. All right, couple questions here. I actually think his reactions are pretty believable. He was a crazy dude to begin with, and his murdered girlfriend. No, Eric. Eric Martinez said that. I think the actor was actually decent. Like, I think he played that role of like pretty boy jock who came unhinged. I thought he played that well. All of a sudden, I become Siskel and Ebert with breaking down people's acting abilities. But I just didn't like the character because I found the character annoying. But I believed what happened. Like, I believed that that's what would have happened if he found out his girlfriend was murdered and all that. And he goes and buys that. I don't have a problem with that. I just found the character frustrating because it's like he just showed up and it's like, you're chasing down like a 9-year-old girl. Come on, man. Grow up. If there are any other questions, feel free to throw them out there. Just if anyone's got anything else. Dan, what do you got coming down the pike? You've got Scene Invaders, the podcast. YouTube channel. You got a Daffy, was that a Donald Duck? You got a Donald Duck?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. It passes for you?
Any reason?
No, my mom got me. I don't know why.
Okay.
So just rock it.
Yeah,
I mean, we got the weekly podcast once a week, and that's on whatever the hot new movie or show is. So we just talked about Stranger Things, and we have a YouTube channel where we talk about movies, TV, whatever's hot again. And I need to work on this pitch for you to watch us. We're fun and we like to have fun. So that's it.
It's not true at all.
That's about it.
Come watch our channel. We like to have fun.
It is fun.
It would be a bold strategy to have a channel where like you don't like to have fun. That's your thing. It's like
that's true. That was like their headline. We do not enjoy fun.
Yeah. Everybody, I apologize for the terrible lighting. I drove into work and this is the best I got. So look, it's baby steps with the whole live chat thing. I finally got a webcam and I'm not using the one on my Chromebook. And now all I have to do is get light so you can see my beautiful face. But there is a reason why you only hear my voice on these and rarely see my face because I have a face for radio. So we do have a comment from spicy dried chicken without flavor. Dried chicken without – that's horrible. I can't deal with spicy stuff myself. Like I'm a bitch clinically. There's a medical term. It's called I'm a bitch. So I can't deal with spicy stuff. But you add in the dried chicken without flavor. That's a buzzkill. It would be crazy if Vecna's 4 victims turned into 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Hadn't even thought of that. Problem with that, though, is that Max isn't dead and she was the 4th victim. So don't know if Max could technically become the 4th horseman of the apocalypse, but Emmanuel Scott says Max riding a horse with a broken arms would be something. Broken arms and broken ankles.
Yeah.
Don't forget, she's Max Mayfield ain't gonna be skateboarding for a long time. So, and Alana said, "Happy to have discovered your channel. Thank you for the live. No, thank you for, hitting. I don't actually know if you hit thumbs up or if you sub. I'll never know, but I appreciate you hopping on. That would be something though. Max just kind of like she can't move.
Yeah.
I don't. Like, how would she get on the horse?
I don't know. I guess you have to hold on wherever your cast stops your arm, and then you just hold on.
But someone would need to get her on that horse.
It has to be like dropped in.
Let's just break this down for a second, okay? Chrissy can't do it. She's just not strong enough.
Not happening.
Okay. Patrick, possibly. Patrick's probably the one I go to and I say, okay. Who is the other victim? The 3rd victim was
the real skinny kid. No shot.
He ain't doing it.
No.
There's no way that Francis or whatever the hell his name is, Freddie, Dwight, whatever his name was, he ain't doing it.
No, he's
all
not.
right. So that leaves Patrick. And I'm telling you, Patrick looked like he was built like Kevin Durant, the Slim Reaper. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if Patrick has the upper body strength to get Max onto that horse. We also don't know Fred. Fred was his name. Thank you, Alana. Fred. We also don't know how big this horse is. Are we talking like Little Sebastian mini horse from Pawnee, Indiana? That can't be far from Hawkins, Indiana. I'm just spitballing here.
Can't be.
Flowing from the top of my brain here. Follow me here, camera guy. Okay? 1986, average lifespan of a mini horse is about 27 years. Little Sebastian did die. So, Little Sebastian could have been born around 1986, 1987. The idea of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse being Chrissy, Fred, Patrick, Max Mayfield, broken arm and all on Little Sebastian. Duffer Brothers, we're giving you content. You need to run with it.
For free. I'm
telling you right now, I don't think 11 would have a problem destroying any of them.
Killing Little Sebastian.
I do feel bad for Fred, man, because it just one of my fears when I was in high school, and I think every guy had this fear, was dying a virgin.
No,
all right. Now, if you're saving yourself for marriage, hey, more power to you. I didn't save myself for marriage. I literally was willing to take the first girl that looked at me. So the fact that you knew that Fred died a virgin, that's just you couldn't, I don't know, have him hook up with somebody beforehand. I know you just introduced the character, but there's no doubt in my mind Patrick was getting laid. He was on the state-winning basketball team, decent-looking guy. Okay, Chrissy, she had Jason, all right, and his golden hair. Miss Malera's okay, I'm out. Yeah, she's done. I think we're done too. We got way off topic, but yeah, just Fred dying a virgin just sucked. Miss Malera's all right, we're done. We're done here. Morals are dead. I'm not doing this. I'm not listening to this anymore. Don't blame her. I think a lot of people have probably checked out at this point. All right. Thank you, everybody, for checking this out. I do appreciate it. Even Miss Malera was this topic has gone way too off track. Don't disagree with her on that. I will do one of these. I guess whatever show. Actually, probably The Boys, because The Boys wraps up on Friday.
I would love to come talk about that.
Yeah, we will definitely hit up The Boys. I don't know if Miss Malera will be there for that, because if she didn't like the Virgin Talk, I'm assuming she's probably not watching The Boys. What a show! What a show!
Oh my goodness, dude.
Yeah, it's nuts. And Alana points out Fred went against horror tropes because usually virgins survive. Very true. I am going to see Thor tomorrow, so just check to look out for the 60-second movie review of Thor Love and Thunder. I always forget the name of it. Yes,
I can't wait to see
we
that.
we will do a live chat for the boys for sure. Once again, if you guys are new to checking this out, like, subscribe, hit thumbs up, smash thumbs down. Patreon link. There's t-shirts and stuff. You know, all that stuff. You don't hit the bell notification thing because I put up videos close to every day, and it'd probably be too much for you. So definitely don't do that. I don't want to blow up your email, especially on drop days when I'm dropping like a full season in a day. You don't need 9 emails, so I'm never going to ask you to do that. But all the other stuff, hit that Patreon right now. So if you look real quick at the Patreon like tiers, the one is just like, hey, we're just like, I'm giving you $1 because I feel bad for you because you have no lighting, but you don't really get anything. But I'll add you to the Discord, so you will get something. All right, if you do it in the coming days. All right, don't worry, you'll get something for that. Couple quick things before we get out of here. The reason Fred dies is because he looked too much like Alfred P. Newman. I thought it was Alfred E. Newman from Mad Magazine. Really did. Vera says Fred was a bad person. Don't disagree with that. He was kind of a creep. He felt like a nerd that was power hungry because he was a nerd. Fred should have been a main character. Don't know about that. But then again, I never got to know Fred. But he was dealing with trauma, so that's why he died. All right, Dan, everyone go check out Scene Invaders. That's Dan right there. Okay.
Check it out.
Thank you for joining me so I didn't talk to myself.
Let's do the boys, man. I want to do the boys with you. Let's do it.
I want to do boys with you too.
Let's do it. Let's do boys
All right,
together.
let's do boys together.
All right. No morals. Bring your morals to the boys, though.
The morals go out the window with the boys.
That's
Absolutely
true.
out the window. So I'm hoping to get that fully recapped on Thursday or Friday. Friday comes out. So anyway, yeah, we're out. Ending the broadcast. Goodbye.